In a room full of self-proclaimed patriots, they laughed at her chest full of ribbons, calling them cheap knockoffs from a costume shop, until the door swung open and a 3-star general, his uniform crisp with authority, stepped in and turned their sneers into stunned silence with 6 simple words. Those medals? I pinned them on her myself. Sergeant Maria Gonzalez stood at the podium in the community center, her posture straight as the day she left basic training. She had come here for the annual Veterans Appreciation Dinner, organized by the local VFW post in a mid-sized town outside San Diego. The event drew a mix of active duty folks, retirees, and civilians who liked to talk big about supporting the troops. Maria, at 42, carried the weight of 2 deployments in her eyes. But tonight, she wore it on her uniform too. Her dress blues hugged her frame, and across her chest gleamed a row of medals. The Bronze Star with Valor Device, Purple Heart, Army Commendation Medal, and a few others earned in the dust of Fallujah and the mountains of Kiener Province. She adjusted the microphone, clearing her throat before she began. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to speak tonight. I've been asked to share a bit about my time in Iraq and Afghanistan, and what those experiences taught me about service and sacrifice. Her voice carried steady, honed by years of briefing squads under fire. The audience numbered about 100, a sea of faces under fluorescent lights, some nodding along, others checking their phones. In the 3rd row, Jack Harlan leaned over to his buddy, Tom Riley, both former reservists who hadn't seen combat since the stateside drill gone wrong with a faulty latrine. Jack was the loud one, a real estate agent now with a flag decal on his truck, and a habit of dominating bar conversations about the good old days. He whispered, loud enough for the row behind to hear, "Look at her get-up. Those medals? Half of them look like they came from a flea market. Women in combat. Yeah, right. Probably got M for showing up." Tom chuckled, nudging the guy next to him, a civilian named Mike who joined the VFW for the cheap beer nights. No kidding. I knew a gal in supply who collected those things like Pokemon cards. Bet she bought the Purple Heart off eBay after twisting an ankle in training. The whispers rippled outward, a low murmur that grew as Maria paused to sip water. She caught fragments, fake, show off, affirmative action enlistee, and her jaw tightened, but she pressed on. Experience had taught her to ignore the noise. She'd faced worse from insurgents lobbing RPGs at her convoy. In 2004, during Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, my platoon was tasked with clearing a block of insurgent-held buildings. We were down 2 men from an IED hit the day before, and the heat was pushing 120 degrees. That's when we took fire from a rooftop sniper. She described it matter-of-factly, her hands gesturing minimally as if recounting a grocery list. The rounds were pinging off the Humvee like hailstones. My gun was pinned down, so I grabbed the .50 cal and laid down suppressing fire. It bought us enough time for the squad to flank and neutralize the threat. For that, I received the Bronze Star. She touched the metal lightly, her finger tracing the ribbon's edge. From the back, a voice piped up, Carl, a grizzled Korean War vet in his 90s, but it was drowned out by Jack's scoff, now audible to half the room. Suppressing fire? Lady, I've seen Rambo movies with better stories. That Valor Device? Pulled for participation trophy. Back in my day, you earned those the hard way. No diversity quotas. Laughter erupted, sporadic at first, then swelling as Tom slapped the table. Yeah, and that Purple Heart? What? Paper cut from filing reports. Come on, spill it. Did you get it for breaking a nail during? Point. Maria's cheeks flushed, but she held the podium edge, knuckles whitening. The moderator, a portly post commander named Ed, shifted uncomfortably but didn't intervene. Let's keep it respectful, he muttered into the mic, though his tone lacked conviction. The room's energy shifted. Heads turned, eyes narrowing on her like she was the evening's unintended entertainment. She straightened, voice dropping an octave. The Purple Heart came later, in 2007, Kiener Province. We were on a night patrol when a Taliban ambush lit us up. Shrapnel from a grenade caught me in the thigh, severed the femoral artery. I tied off the bleeder with my belt while my medic patched the others. Lost 2 liters of blood that night, but we held the line until QRF arrived. Her words hung there, clinical and unadorned, as if reading from her DD-214. But the mockery didn't stop. Mike, emboldened, stood halfway. Shrapnel, huh? Sounds convenient. I read about these frauds getting busted all the time, wearing unearned bling to impress dates or snag VA benefits. You one of those stolen valor types? Show us the citation, sweetheart. The room buzzed now, a mix of guffaws and uneasy coughs. An older woman in the front row, a Gold Star mom, shook her head but said nothing. Jack leaned back, arms crossed. Bet the whole rack's bogus. General quarters my ass. She probably typed up her own orders. Maria's breath came shallow, memories flashing unbidden. The copper tang of blood in her mouth, the scream of rotors overhead as the Black Hawk evacuated her, the surgeon in Germany saying she'd be lucky to walk without a cane. But she didn't lash out. Instead, she said evenly, I have the paperwork if anyone cares to see it. But I'm here to honor the fallen, not defend my service to skeptics. Ed finally rapped his gavel lightly. All right, folks, let's hear her out. But the damage lingered. The applause when she stepped down was polite but thin, like watered-down coffee. She made her way to a side table, pouring herself a plastic cup of punch. When Jack sauntered over, Tom and Mike in tow. Listen, no hard feelings, Jack said, though his grin said otherwise. But seriously, those medals? They're giving them out like candy now. I served in the Gulf. Real war, none of this prolonged vacation stuff. You pull any of that in my unit, we have court-martialed you for impersonating a soldier. Tom nodded vigorously. Yeah, and that 3-star cluster, or whatever. Wait, you don't have one of those, do you? Nah, figures. Only the brass gets the good. Toys. Maria set down her cup, meeting Jack's eyes. Impersonating? I've got 12 years in 2 Purple Hearts, actually, the second from a mortar round in 2010, and scars that ache when it rains. You want to question that? Fine, but don't pretend your weekend warrior stints make you an expert. The trio recoiled slightly, but Mike recovered with a snort. Scars? Photoshop those too? Come on, admit it, they're fake. Whole room knows it. A small crowd gathered now. Murmurs turned into open debate. Carl from the back wheeled his chair closer, rasping, Back off, boys. I saw Anzio. Don't need to prove squat to punks like you. But his voice was weak against the growing chorus. That's when the doors at the far end of the hall banged open. No fanfare, no announcement, just a heavy thud of boots on linoleum. In walked Brigadier General Harlan Thorpe, 3 stars pinned to his shoulders, his cover tucked under one arm. At 58, he was a legend in the Corps. Led the surgeon Ramadi, testified before Congress on counterinsurgency, now commanded the base at Pendleton. His aide, a young captain, trailed with a leather portfolio. The room fell into a hush, not out of reverence at first, but confusion. General Thorpe scanned the crowd, his gaze landing unerringly on Maria. He strode forward, parting the group like a knife through butter. Jack's smirk faded. Tom's cup slipped from his hand, splashing punch on his shoes. General, Ed stammered, rushing over. Sir, we weren't expecting. Thorpe waved him off, his voice a gravelly baritone that had quieted boardrooms and briefings alike. At ease, Commander. I'm here for her. He stopped before Maria, extending a hand that dwarfed hers. Sergeant Gonzalez. Been too long. Maria saluted crisply, though off duty. General Thorpe. Honored, sir. He returned the salute, then turned to the trio, his expression hardening like tempered steel. You 3, step forward. Jack swallowed. Shuffling ahead, Tom and Mike exchanging wide-eyed glances. The room held its breath. Even Carl leaned in, oxygen tube forgotten. Thorpe's eyes bored into Jack. I heard what you said, about her medals being fake. Care to repeat that to my face? Jack's mouth worked soundlessly. Sir, I was just nothing. Thorpe's tone could freeze Diesel. He reached into his pocket, pulling a folded document, yellow with age, stamped with official seals. This is a citation for the Bronze Star I pinned on Sergeant Gonzalez personally, November 2004, Al Anbar Province. I was there. Watch her drag a wounded Marine 200 meters under fire, then call in cess that saved the platoon. Valor device? Earn it twice over. He unfolded another sheet, this one crisp from recent print. Purple Heart, Kinner 2007. I approve the award myself after reviewing the after-action report. Shrapnel entry confirmed by X-rays. Blood loss verified by medevac logs. And the second one? Mortar shrapnel to the shoulder during the Battle of Wanted Aftermath. She walked out under her own power, refused evac to stay with her squad. Tom's face drained of color. But, sir, we thought. You thought wrong. Thorpe's voice rose, echoing off the walls. Sergeant Gonzalez isn't just a veteran. She's a reason outfits like yours get to sit stateside and spout off. I pulled her file this afternoon. 12 years for deployments, recommended for Silver Star, that got downgraded because